Move on to the main political event of the last week, which was the budget. And as I said, Gloria, it hasn't seemed to have moved things very much.
No, not a game changer. And you could see
not so far. We'll see.
You could see the look on Tory MPs' faces actually during that budget. But actually,
yeah, they were smiling.
Looking at some of the commentators today, we've got Andrew Rawnsley
it's a very good piece in the Observer.
Yes, in the Observer, saying, you know, this Chancellor uses budgets as kind of political operations to try and shoot Labour spots. But I don't want a Chancellor to stand up and think, how can I get one over on my opponents? I want a Chancellor to stand up. I want a Chancellor to stand up and say, right, OK, people are still hurting. That is the fundamental divide still in politics. And you're saying that budget said, May the 9th, the cuts are coming. Savage.
Yeah. Well,
savage.
You've signed up for £30 billion of cuts, of course, but you can't say where they're coming from.
Well,
but
I'll tell you what,
I think that actually it was an extraordinarily good budget. And Osborne is right, proudly to say of the achievements that we have made in the restoration of the economy, and to say it's part of this plan that extends right through to making not my future more secure, but actually about my children and my grandchildren.
But we were talking about the NHS, and he conspicuously didn't put the NHS into the budget, which I think Labour Party expected.
No, that, as you know, you do that in your spending review, but we have said we will ring-fence the budget of the NHS. You know, Labour, we know, would have cut it. We've actually increased it. £12.7 billion more going into the
NHS will have more money, we'll have more GPs,
You're going to put more money
nurses. Yes, the mansion tax, because we think that when our NHS is going through the crisis of your creation, partly because of your top-down reorganisation, partly because of the story in The Independent, cutting adult social care budget so people cannot even leave hospital. So we're going to get some more funds.
I think we're actually
let's
seeing
return to the
papers
if we may.
Let's
return to the papers if we may. Enjoyable though this is, there's Andrew Rawnsley and the other commentators are now challenged by other commentators who write in the papers all the time, including one David Cameron.
An outstanding piece by the Prime Minister, if I may. Well, it is actually, because, I mean, we do accept that it has been tough in the last 5 years. We've made difficult decisions, and it has been tough for many people. But, I mean, I was out, no doubt like you were yesterday. We should say our constituencies, we are neighbours. So our constituencies...
Neighbours on the sofa and neighbours...
Yeah, and we actually have very similar small majorities. And
I thought you were going to say views for a second. I thought you were going to say views for a second.
On some things, I think we do, actually. I think if we talked about women inequalities, you would find we agree. But in all seriousness, I think, you know, the boss makes absolutely the right point, that it has been touched. But when I was out yesterday canvassing in part of my constituency, a place called Stapleford, you know, and genuinely saying to people, how is it? And people said, you know what, it's getting better. I felt it's getting better. That's what they
I was out, as you say, yesterday, Anna, and a woman said to me, actually in Ashfield, you know, everybody's worse off because prices have risen and wages haven't kept up. In Ashfield, in my constituency, wages have gone back in actual terms, not even just in real terms. But a woman said to me she'd got a promotion. She was she started off as a care worker on a minimum wage. Over the last 5 years, she's now on a salary. But she said, because of the rising prices and the fact that wages haven't kept up, she feels like she's still on the minimum wage.
And you know what? You know, the number of people claiming unemployment benefit in our constituencies has more than halved. You know, people in work. It's brilliant.
Gloria, you did a Why Do They Hate Us So Much tour, didn't you? You went round the country and you tried to find out why professional politicians like yourselves are not more admired and liked and loved by the general public. Tell us a little bit about it and what your most interesting conclusion was.
Well, I went around the country. I went to where people are rather than expecting anyone to come to me, from aerobics classes to golf clubs to pubs. And just, you know, we've got a crisis in politics. We've got a real crisis in politics. What they said, they don't know what we do, they think we're in it for ourselves, they don't think we can understand their lives. What gave me hope is that in every one of the groups, when I said, another interesting thing, they said the most important quality to become a politician was qualifications, academic qualifications. Absolute nonsense, which really, and actually you don't need any qualifications, you just need to want to stick up for your community, your neighbourhood. People then said, that sounds great, how do I get into it?
Yeah,
and that's a lesson for political parties to open themselves up.
If you reach out more, because...
Well, yeah, but can I just say, I think that one of the things that makes us a bit different to a lot of people, actually, is that I know we are now professional politicians because we're both members of Parliament, and we have been for the last nearly 5 years. But before that, we did pretty, you know, and we still had normal lives, actually. People don't realise that. But, you know, we did other stuff before we became MPs, and I think that is so very, very, very important, that you keep grounded. And you aren't a professional
This is something that Nigel Farage, who's coming on, talks about a lot.
Yeah, but
as well.
we actually do go down the pub. I know how Gloria lives.
You can't say he doesn't.
No, but the difference is that Mr. Farage has been a member of the political establishment for decades.
Well,
that's
the
the
broker,
truth.
Of course,
yeah. Well, no, but he's been an MEP for decades, and he certainly tried to become a member of. He was a Conservative Party candidate. He tried to become a member of the establishment in Westminster and failed.
But you know what? We need more working class people in politics. We need more women in politics. It has to look more like Britain. I think that's how we fix this problem.
Now, moving back to the papers, because this is technically a paper review.
Oh, sorry, yes,
sorry.
Sorry
You've chosen this story here. Tell us about this from The Independent on Sunday.
It is, and this refers to